Hello family, my name is Chris, I am your home gamer dad, and the last team breakdown I did covered the original 6 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, those that can be found in the core box for this game, and of course Green Ranger Tommy, all the amazing nostalgia that you remember. But now it is time for us to move into the future, checking out later Rangers, where we are able to see a brand new team, some new colors, and some new Zords. So sit back and relax as I go over a team breakdown of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 2, and one character from Season 3 because, you know, she just happens to be there. So as you can see, we have a lot to cover today, and I'm going to be going with them from order that they appeared in the show, with the exception of Alpha, who's kind of his own thing within the game, like a lot of different ways, so he'll have his own section at the very end. So that means we will be starting with White Ranger Tommy Oliver, who you can find in either the Kickstarter box or in the Legendary Pack Tommy Oliver set. Just like with the Green Ranger, who actually appears in both of those sets as well, the only difference between those two White Rangers are the sculpts for the figures, which really is just whatever your preference is. This doesn't have any bearing on the game itself. It's whatever sculpt you like. And then in the Legendary Ranger Tommy Oliver pack, you actually get a second special ability for Tommy that you do not get in the Kickstarter. So really, the Legendary Tommy Oliver pack is probably the better way to go, but then again, he is in the Kickstarter well for the White Light expansion. I like it either way. Either one is good, and you can never have too many Tommy. Moving down the line, we have Adam, Aisha, and Rocky, the Stone Canyon Trio. These are the ones that took over the roles of the Black Ranger, Yellow Ranger, and Red Ranger midway through Season 2. You're going to be able to find these 3 inside of the Legendary Ranger Forever Ranger pack. Each one of them will have their own unique ability cards and a unique deck of cards set for them. If you happen to have the Kickstarter box, you will actually find those ability cards within that as well, but you would have to use the decks for your original Rangers in order to use them or whatnot. Here in the Legendary Ranger Forever Ranger pack, each one of these characters have basically a unique deck for them. They each have their same power weapon and the Blade Blaster that you expect from the core Rangers, but there are other cards within their deck that are unique to them, and I can't wait to show you what those are. Might as well throw Kat into that as well. She was introduced in Season 3, and just like these 3, the Legendary Ranger Forever Ranger pack is where you can find her unique set of cards, her ability card as well. You'll find her ability card within the Kickstarter box, along with all the other stuff here and everything like that. So again, if you have the Kickstarter box is like a banging value for its own right. Let me just tell you that right now. But if you wanted to get the original decks for these 4 particular characters, definitely grab that Legendary Ranger Forever Ranger pack if you haven't already. And finally, we have Alpha 5, the ultimate support character that can be played as both an AI character and as an actual player within the game. We have 2 different sculpts here, one from the Kickstarter box and one from the Legendary Pack Forever Ranger pack, and both of these Alphas have unique decks to them. And I'm going to be going over both how Alpha works and the cards that are in both of those decks when we actually get to him. I love Alpha. He's absolutely amazing. If you're a big fan of Dr. K, you're going to love Alpha. Trust me. As always, when I talk about card combinations, I kind of just leave it to the Rangers that I'm discussing within this team breakdown. But because these have been around for so long, I would love to hear what you have matched any one of these Rangers with. What are some of your best combos that you have pulled off? Some of your highest value combos? Ones that worked, ones that didn't, anything along that ways. I'd love to hear about all of that and more down in the comment section below. But for right now, let's go ahead and jump into the breakdown of everything you see here with the next verse to the Power Ranger theme song. They know the fate of the world lies in their hand. They know to only use their weapons to defend. No one can ever take them down. The power lies on their side. Go, go, Power Rangers! You Mighty Morphin Power Rangers! Yeah! That's a ticket.
Morphin Time! White Ranger power! Black Ranger power!
Pink Ranger power!
Blue Ranger power!
Yellow Ranger power!
Red Ranger power!
Tommy Oliver, Mighty Morphin White. In a scheme that actually worked, Lord Zed used one of his monsters to permanently drain Tommy of his Green Ranger powers. After briefly leaving the group, Zordon and Alpha brought Tommy back and infused him with the white light of goodness, transforming him into the White Ranger and the new leader of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Taking on this role, Tommy would then lead the Rangers through many adventures across multiple seasons against multiple enemies, all the time showing why he is a legendary Ranger. The first one you will find is Guardian Light. Once per battle, when any Ranger reveals a card for defense, you may add 1 shield to that card. Tommy doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing as the White Ranger. Rather than being more of a loner by himself as the Green Ranger, he is there to protect his team at all costs, granting them that additional boost of defense, making sure his team stays in the fight, ready to defend the planet. His second ability that you can use is Rallying Light. Once per battle, if there's no energy in the shared pool, you may gain 1 energy. That energy immediately goes to the shared pool, so now you're able to continue doing powerful attacks that cost X amount of energy if somebody hasn't taken it from their card yet, or if you just needed that 1 more energy to do something. Tommy calls forth the white light of goodness, powering up the shared pool, giving that 1 extra energy, and probably what's needed to defeat the enemies. Tommy's deck is exactly the same no matter if you got it from the Kickstarter or from the Tommy Oliver pack. It contains 0 X energy cards, 6 0 energy, 2 1 energy, a 2 energy, and a 3 energy card. You'll find 5 attacks, 3 maneuvers, and 2 reactions, and it is the standard 3-4-3 Type A shield breakdown. Am I the only one that felt bad for Jason once Tommy was revealed as the White Ranger and Zordon was like, "You're the leader now, congratulations." Like, man, you wonder why the guy left. Peace conference. I already covered that in previous team breakdowns. Anyway, going into Tommy's cards, and White Ranger Tommy is fantastic, by the way. We're going to start with the Flash Kick, a great card, 0 energy cost, a reaction. Play this card before the first turn of a battle to roll 2 dice and deal that much damage to the first enemy card in the combat sequence. This supersedes fast, so if you are fighting something with the fast keyword, you play Flash Kick immediately, and that's of course Tommy's signature, spin kick attack and whatnot, and you're able to do a free 2 dice attack to that card before it has a chance to trigger. Now, even if you don't defeat that card, this is a reaction, it's kind of its own turn thing, the Rangers will still lose that first turn if that card is there or not. But I love it, this is amazing. I think you can play 2 of these at once. There are 2 of these in this deck, so you can play them both as a reaction and maybe get a nice 4 dice damage to whatever that first card is. But again, it's only that first card in the sequence, so you can take it out right then and there and not have to worry about, losing a turn and losing that momentum in battle. Next, we have the Flying Tiger, 0 energy, 2 dice attack. After you resolve this attack, you may spend 1 energy to allow another Ranger to immediately play 1 card with an energy cost of 0. Effectively, you're making a 0 energy cost 1, but you're able then to generally get another turn immediately after you do a 2 dice attack, which for any of the games you play can be extremely helpful. You can play a maneuver right after that. You can play another card, that as long as it has a 0 energy cost or whatever, you can play it immediately. That little bit might help out a lot in order to move the sequence forward and defeat all the enemies. Tommy loves his armors, doesn't he? Or at least in the beginning, between Green and White Ranger. We have right here the 0 cost Guardian Armor maneuver. Gain 2 energy. Oh man, it's amazing. Place this card on top of your deck instead of discarding it. This is an amazing setup card because as you can see, it's a 3 shield card. It's ready to take that hit for you. So if you need enough energy in order to take down a monster or a series of monsters or whatever, and you don't quite have it yet, this is okay to play. Yes, this is the Ranger's entire turn in order to do that setup for the next thing. Well, it may not be, depending on what Tommy uses, but this is a great card in order to be like, all right, so we need the power, we need it, let's gather our strength together, I'm gonna play Guardian Armor, we gain the energy, but even though this attack is happening, I can tank it, no problem. That is Tommy. He's like, I got it, you guys get yourself ready, power up, use the cannon, because I believe that's was season 2. They had that giant cannon that they put those massive like kickball balls into it and fired it off or whatever. I feel like that was a thing where Tommy's like, all right, let's power this up and go. That's the Guardian Armor. Next, we have Fainting Slash, which I believe is a card that's in Delphine's deck. You guys let me know down in the comment section below, but I'm pretty sure this, or a card very similar to this, is within her deck. 1 energy, 3 dice attack. If you roll any misses during this attack, return this card to your hand instead of discarding it. That's awesome. And I'm pretty sure it is Delphine because she does rely a lot on misses, either her or Udana. But the two of them together would be absolutely amazing. Or even throwing Tommy into it. You know, a whole White Ranger team would be fantastic at this point. You're going to roll this, and even though you're getting a 3-dice attack for 1 energy, which is great, rolling a miss doesn't really seem all that bad because you can immediately pull this back to your hand. Spend the energy again and do it again your next turn in order to try to get that extra damage in to defeat something. So having to have a card come back to your hand instead of discarding it, way more helpful because you don't have to continuously draw cards from your deck, killing out any more of your shields and everything, and wasting the life or draining the life from your ranger just to make sure you have a card to play during battle. I didn't talk much about Saba during the opening, but Saba is awesome. He is a lion-headed, like, a short sword of sorts, and he has sentience to him, so he'll talk to Tommy and control the Tigerzord, and the two of them will have these really weird conversations every so often, but he also has special abilities for himself. For example, Saba's Eye Beam, and this is something that he does in the show every so often, and I remember it vividly, and him just jumping in the air, just firing off at things. It is a 2 energy cost maneuver card, deal 1 damage each to up to 4 enemy cards. This is a non-targeted attack, so that means you can get around guard. If you have something that has a passive that's causing you a lot of problems that you just kind of want to pick at here and there, Saba's Eye Beam is a great way in order to start doing some type of damage to it. So this way, if you have somebody coming in with a splash damage or other non-targeted damage, you'll be able to take it out faster. And you could do this to up to 4 cards. So if you're fighting a monster, you could do it to all the monster cards, or you could do it to some monster cards and some foot soldier cards. It really all depends on what you think are the greatest threats to your team at the time. Saba will hover himself over them and blast them. Boom, 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 1 by 1. Speaking of Saba, Saba Slash, his 3 energy cost power weapon, and I quote that because we already had Saba do something, but this is him like really using Saba to its fullest. A 5-dice attack, you may divide this damage among any number of targets. That is a targeted attack. This will not get around guard. The damage needs to be dealt out before it resolves, so you can't like deal the damage to a guard card and then it flips over and then you keep going from there. All the damage has to go out on the field before it resolves and flips over cards. But even still, offense and defense. This is why I think White Ranger Tommy is one of my favorite versions of Tommy, especially within Heroes of the Grid. Each one of his cards that you've seen so far is very much tailored to his offense and defensive abilities, and depending on what natural ability you choose for him will enhance one or the other. Having that extra energy there, just to have it ready to go for a fainting clash is awesome, or for one of your teammates, but also gaining that extra shield whenever somebody does something for defense, never a bad thing either. Heck, having that lined up with a Guardian Shield, fantastic. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Actually, let's talk about his White Tigerzord first. Here we go. Exhaust this card when any ranger performs a maneuver to allow another ranger to immediately play 1 card with an energy cost of 0. So I kind of hinted about this a little bit sooner. I forgot that it's another ranger after it happens, but at the same time, any ranger can trigger this. So as soon as any ranger plays a maneuver, then you can exhaust the White Tigerzord, and then another ranger, not the original one that played the card, can then play any card from their hand of a 0 cost value. That could be any attack or any maneuver right there. Usually whenever you play a maneuver, that's the entire ranger's turn. Not always are you going to get a follow-up attack with them, especially in the early days of Heroes of the Grid. But with the White Tigerzord, at least you're always guaranteed to have something that follows up a maneuver. Most maneuver cards are there in order to set something up. Here, you'll actually be able to possibly trigger whatever it is that you hope to do as soon as you can. That is the White Tigerzord right there, jumping in and just claw swiping its way, boom, 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 doing something, and then immediately doing another thing after, whether it be a setup move, which is usually what the maneuvers are, and then a big attack or another maneuver in order creating an even huger outcome for the next ranger turn. Adam Park, Mighty Morphin Black. Part of the Stone Canyon trio who visited Angel Grove for a martial arts tournament. Adam Park is a very skillful fighter who may seem shy and quiet at first, but holds great respect and loyalty for his friends. Taking Zach's place as the Mighty Morphin Black Ranger, Adam would go on to prove his worth as not only a teammate, but future mentor and leader to other Ranger generations. Adam is very adaptable, which is what his special ability is. Once per battle, you may swap a card from your hand with the top card of your discard pile. This is a very interesting thing for the game because technically you're not supposed to shuffle your discard pile. Whenever you play a card, it goes there, and you can actually look through your pile at any point, but you're not supposed to rearrange it. And that's where Adam's ability comes into play. Whatever the last card you used that is on top of your deck, you're able to then take a card from your hand and swap it with the top card of your discard pile, getting rid of a card that maybe you won't need, that won't do you that good for right now, and pulling a much more valuable card back to your hand that you can use in order to win the day. Inside of Adam's deck that you can find within the Legendary Ranger Forever Ranger set, you'll find 1 X energy card, 6 0 energy, 2 1 energy, and 1 3 energy cards. He has a whopping 8 attacks, no maneuvers, 2 reactions, and has the standard 3-4-3 Type A shield breakdown. Rapid hit, 0 cost, 1 dice attack for his first card right here. After you resolve this attack, perform a second attack with 1 dice. While this card is on top of your discard pile, add 1 dice to each of your attacks. So if this card is on top of his deck, then you are doing 2 2-dice attacks in a row for 0 energy, which is awesome. I can't believe that something like that is it. This is another thing that I mentioned also before when I first talked about Adam, in that you really can't shuffle a discard pile. Whenever you play it, it goes on top, and then whatever card is there, that's what the trigger is. That is whatever cards in your hand plays off of, or using his special adaptability, to switch it back and forth and everything. That is what it is that you have to look at. You can't look at a discard pile, flip through them, and kind of shift them around and then put them back. I'm guilty of it quite often. I will very much take my discard pile, look at stuff, and just kind of put it back. However, not even thinking about the fact that I've rearranged it and whatnot. For Adam, you have to be very careful and very observant for your discard pile, because he needs to have cards in there showing in order to take advantage of not only his cards, but his special ability as well. Take this card, for example, Leapfrog Strike, 0 cost, 2 dice attack. While this card is on top of your discard pile, gain 1 energy each time you perform an attack. That means you could play this, and then while it's on top of your discard pile, say you do Rapid Hits, which is a 2 attack for a single dice each one of those attacks is going to generate an energy. So not only are you getting 2 1-dice attacks, but each one is gaining you an energy as well. You got to see exactly what is on his discard pile, because that's what you need in order to play off a lot of the cards within Adam's unique deck. Now, I also have to say, I love the frog reference right here, which is a season 3 thing when he gets his Ninjetti animal, but I mean, it's also a thing with his cards. They're leapfrogging back and forth from his discard pile to his hand in order to be able to get the most advantage he can against whatever enemies are on the field. Take a look at his reaction card right here. Exploit Opening, 0 cost reaction card. Play this card when another ranger defeats an enemy card with an attack. Deal 1 damage to an enemy card adjacent to the target. Quick 1-hit ping against something that can get around guard, because it is going to hit an adjacent card to the target. So it's going to be able to bypass all that, no problem. But you also have to watch an enemy card with an attack. So that means that you would have to have played an attack card and done damage to defeat it in order for you to do Exploit Opening. And I say that because Tommy's card, for example, that Flash Kick is not an attack. It's a reaction. So you're able just to hit whatever it is there and do whatever. This will not play off of that, because that is not an attack technically. This is looking for a card that actually has the word attack written on it, usually followed by the word special, direct damage, or dice, something along that ways. But hey, I am all for splash damage. I am all for dealing 1 point of damage to an enemy card. I love that ability, and I think this is a great 0 cost card to have in your hand just for the heck of it, so you can throw it down really fast in order to be able to do maybe that one little bit of damage you need in order to defeat an enemy. Going back to checking his discard pile, we have the Cosmic Cannon. 1 energy, 3 dice attack. It looks like the cannon. The axe is transformed into the cannon. He's using it like that. Zach, I don't think ever did that, but that's why Adam is adaptable and an awesome, awesome ranger. While this card is on top of your discard pile, ignore the guard keyword when choosing targets for your attacks. Keep in mind also, all of these are you, meaning just Adam. This doesn't work for other Rangers, and if you are playing him in solo mode, this will only work for cards that you play with Adam. Only Adam's cards are affected by those that are on top of his discard pile. So now we're adding, what is it? We're adding dice to an attack, we're gaining energy for an attack, and now we're ignoring guard for an attack. I mean, you're not going to do all three at the same time. It all depends on what's on top of his deck, but you can use his ability to swap cards from your hand in order to be able to get what you need in order to defeat enemies. I love it. It's great. These 4 cards that you just saw right here were the original ones for Adam. They're made just for his deck. Those are the 4 that you would not find in Zach's deck. His power weapon and his sidearm, which I'm going to show right now, you still find them. These are the exact same cards that you would find within, well, Zach's deck for this case. Blade Blaster is the standard issue sidearm for all MMPR Rangers. I'm very, very, very happy that Tommy does not have one. That is great. I am super happy that White Ranger Tommy does not have one. He does not need one personally. Sabra eye lasers, better than anything else, hands down. But as always, this is going to be the only time I talk about them in this breakdown. So if you need a little bit more information, go watch my Season 1 breakdown for MMPR. Blade Blaster, X energy, special attack. This attack deals damage equal to the amount of energy spent to play this card. You may divide this damage among any number of targets. So if you spend 3 energy, you're dealing 3 damage to any number of targets. This is a targeted attack, so it does adhere to the guard rules. You need to defeat enemies in order to get rid of guard, in order to really spread it around to everything. So that is Blade Blaster. As far as Adam's power weapon goes, the exact same thing as Zach's, which again I talked about in Season 1. Power Axe, 3 dice attack. After rolling, choose 2 dice from the attack. Deal that much damage to each enemy or card adjacent to the target. Possibly one of the best power weapons in the game, in my opinion, because the more dice you roll, the more chances you have of rolling massive hits. And if 2 of those dice are double hits, then you can take 2 of them, making a 4-hit attack, and each adjacent enemy, meaning that if you are fighting a monster, it's not only left and right, but bottom as well. Or if you're going up against a foot soldier, the top as well for a monster. And it's a splash damage, so it will ignore guard. You can hit something with guard and then do that much damage to all of the sides around it. Absolutely amazing. One of my favorite power weapons, hands down, in the game, and Adam has it as well. Would I have liked it to be a little bit more original to the character? That would be great, but I understand why they did it. He's still the Black Ranger. He still has all the Black Ranger powers, and these cards show that. And that's going to show that also for the other ones that I cover in this breakdown. Season 1 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers had the Dinozord. Season 2 had the Thunderzords. Lion Thunderzord power for Adam. Exhaust this card during any Ranger turn in battle. Defeat 1 foot soldier card instead of playing a card. The Mastodon removed stuff from the field, but it still went to the experience board, which was very interesting, but made it a little weird to use during battle. This one has a specific trigger for battle. You have to be in battle, and it does require a full Ranger turn. So if it's the Ranger's turn, this is going to be the only thing you do. However, it is an auto defeat. It doesn't matter what the health of the character is or anything along that way, or if it's guarded or whatever. You can pick any foot soldier within the battle and it's immediately flipped over and defeated. And because it's defeated, it does go to the experience track as well. This will work for the elites as well because they are still considered foot soldiers, and you just exhaust it, use a Ranger turn, but at least it is off the board and you gain the experience for it. A lot of great uses for the Lion Thunderzord. I like the Mastodon better, but I can see where this guy really shows his fury, if you would. Aisha Campbell, Mighty Morphin Yellow. With Trini heading off to the peace conference with Jason and Zach, Aisha was transferred the powers of the yellow Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. Aisha is very strong, agile, and has a big heart. She takes her duties to her friends and as a ranger very seriously, but that also means she sometimes neglects other parts of her life, like her schoolwork. She likes kids and is an excellent martial arts instructor. Once she gets moving, she cannot be stopped. Aisha has her momentum. Once per battle after you defeat an enemy card with an attack, gain 1 energy. She does have a bunch of attack cards within her deck, and to have that return on investment if you're putting energy out for like a 1 energy card or a power weapon or something like that is never a bad thing. Knowing that there's going to be something within the shared pool regardless after you've done an attack is something that you should never overlook. Again, you have to defeat the card and only Aisha can do it. But the way that she has her cards and everything, if you focus on a foot soldier, shouldn't be a problem. Within Aisha's deck, which again, you'll be able to find the Legendary Rangers Forever Rangers pack, she has 1 X energy card, 6 0 energy, 2 1 energy, and 1 3 energy cards. Out of those cards, 6 of them are attacks, 2 are maneuvers, 2 are reactions, and oddly enough, unlike Trini, Aisha has a standard 3-4-3 Type A shield breakdown. Here we go. Unstoppable Force, a 0-cost reaction card. Play this card when any ranger defeats an enemy card. Remove all excess hit tokens on that card and gain that much damage. If you do an attack, or a, what is it? Is it any ranger? Any ranger, including herself if she wants. A very powerful attack. Say you have somebody doing like a 5-dice attack against something with like 3 health, and they just roll obscenely well. This is gaining all energy for anything above whatever the health value for that card is. The game that we played, if I had this in my hand, we would have had an attack that probably would have given us, I think, like 4 or 5 energy into the pool, which then can be used on the Ranger's next turn to play a power weapon or to pump into like a Blade Blaster or some other weapon that does all types of crazy damage for an X cost. Unstoppable Force is definitely one that I would want in my hand in order to prep it for a big attack that I knew was coming from another Ranger or even from Aisha herself, because if she defeats the enemy, once per battle, she'll gain an energy, play Unstoppable Force, keep that momentum going, right? To just gain more and more energy. I don't really want to call her a battery, but her energy gain potential for just her ability in this card is astounding. Next, we have her Snap Kick, a 0-cost 2-dice attack. Add 1 dice to this attack if this card was not the first card played during this turn. This is one that you would want to have like a follow-up one. So for example, just take what we had with Tommy with the White Tigerzord. Somebody played a maneuver, you activated the White Tigerzord, and then somebody can play a 0-cost card. Here's your 0-cost card right now, gaining 3 dice instead of 2 because this was not the first card played that turn. Now, exhausting a Zord card does not count as playing a card, just FYI. It has to come from the hand of a player, and then from there it says a Ranger may then play 1 other card or a card of 0, or, you know, usually some type of cost is associated or whatever. This means that Snap Kick can then be played immediately thereafter, doing a 3-dice attack. If it does more than the damage, then, you know, it defeated it, she can gain an energy, Unstoppable Force can gain an energy. There's just so many different ways that she can go in there and not only clean house, destroying all the cards that, you know, are in front of her, but then gaining a lot of energy for her team in order to use for follow-up attacks. Here's a card that I wish Trini had because it plays super well into her special ability, but really any Ranger will take advantage of this. Double Up, 0-cost maneuver card. Any Ranger may search their deck and discard pile for 2 cards with the same name and add them both to their hand. If they search their deck, they must shuffle it. So you're basically saying to a Ranger, take 2 cards. They have to have the same name, and there's a lot of doubles in most of these decks. Actually, out of all the cards, you're going to find 4 different ones with copies of each. So it's 8 cards in a deck that have a matching name to it. Find them, put them in your hand, and you're good to go. So it's really any Ranger? Yeah, 1 Ranger. But it's a maneuver card, so it does take the whole turn. So again, this is more of a setup card and whatever, but it doesn't matter. You're asking a Ranger to find 2 cards and put it in their hand, so you know that whenever they take their next turn, whatever they pulled is going to probably be used to play, and it's going to be an amazing effect. There are a lot of Rangers nowadays that really work well with having cards in their hand that have specific names on them that if you reveal them, really do something for other cards. So Double Up is just a way of searching a deck and discard pile for exactly what you need for the situation. So good. Glad there's 2 of these in her deck too. You know, I kind of wish for Rocky, Aisha, and Adam that the outfits that they wore changed in order to represent the actual series that they were pulled from Super Sentai. Dairanga, I think it is, or something along that ways. I get why Saban didn't change the outfits. Power Rangers was still very new at the time. It was only season 2, and they couldn't risk that much of a change. They'll maybe like lose people, but little did they know it would be the best decision they would make ever, because technically Aisha never drove the saber-toothed tiger. She was all about the Griffin. And right here we have the Griffin Strike, a 1 energy, 2-dice attack. After you resolve this card, you may draw 1 card. If you do, you may immediately play 1 card with an energy cost of 0. She could already have something in her hand in play. She could draw it and immediately play it. It's all about that follow-up and keeping that momentum going, as her special ability says, to like do something, deal damage, do something, deal damage, do something, deal damage. All right, it's the end of my turn. Those are Aisha's 4 cards for her. Absolutely amazing, and I love how they do kind of play into her own personality of just pushing forward, pushing forward, pushing forward. Nothing can stop her. She's a train, just barreling through those enemies. And even though she may be small, she is strong. She is strong as anything and fast and powerful. Speaking of power, we do have the same 2 cards that appeared in Trini's deck as well as Aisha, the Power Daggers and the Blade Blaster. We know what the Blade Blaster is. I talk about it ad nauseum, but the Power Daggers actually work better for Aisha than they do for Trini, at least in my opinion, because the Power Daggers give you a 4 dice attack for 3 energy, and then you may immediately play 1 card. This again goes really into her ability to just constantly push out cards as fast as she can to do as much damage as possible to whatever's on the field. And ideally what you're doing is you're paying 3 energy to do a 4 dice attack, and if you have Snap Kick in your hand, you can then do an immediate 3 dice attack right after it. That is 7 dice attack for only 3 energy. That is awesome. And that is kind of another reason why I really like Aisha. Just the strength and power that she has with the Yellow Ranger powers, that Trini was more of speed, quick shots, boom, 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 fast little things. Aisha is fast, playing those cards one right after another, but man, does she hit hard. Let's finish it off with her Griffin Thunderzord power. Exhaust this card after any Ranger plays a card, including herself. That Ranger may immediately play another card with the same name. Then that Ranger may draw 1 card. So a lot of Trini's special ability was her being able to play a card and then immediately playing another card right on top of it. With the Griffin Thunderzord, any Ranger can do it. You have double up play, so now you have a Ranger that has 2 cards with the same name already in their hand. Activate the Griffin Thunderzord, they'll be able to play them both in succession. And usually if you have a card with the same name, they do some pretty good stuff on their own. Being able to do that twice could be a game changer at times, because you're able to get as much damage or effects out there or something along that ways in order to really boost the team. Again, I was never really that confident with a lot of the Yellow Rangers that I've seen throughout the course of Heroes of the Grid, but that's when I had a very different play style. Now I'm starting to really see more of the strategy involved and how cards are supposed to work together and how they're supposed to like intertwine and combo off each other and everything. And let me tell you, Yellow Rangers are fantastic. Do not sell them short, my friends, because they will come at you hard as anything and knock anything out in 1, maybe 2 turns. Rocky DeSantos, Mighty Morphin Red, taking over Jason's role as the Red Ranger, but not the leader of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Rocky is a fun-loving guy that has a big appetite for food and life. Much like when Jason became the Red Ranger, Rocky embraced the superhero lifestyle. It helped him grow as a person and shaped him into the hero he always knew he could be. Whenever evil threatened the world, Rocky was always one of the first to stand up and defend alongside his fellow Rangers. Rocky's special ability, Bravery, showcasing his true bravery on the field. When you reveal a card for defense, if that card would be placed on the bottom of your deck, you may add it to your hand instead. Very good if you're trying to get like low-cost cards into your hand, 1 shield, 2 shield cards that cost 0. So this way you're able to kind of just grab it as fast as you can. What's also really good is this is not a once per battle ability. It's when you reveal a card and it happens to go to the bottom, you can just grab it immediately. Now, yes, it's still not in your deck, so if it would go to the bottom of your deck, you're now losing it, but hey, you're still getting something else in your hand that you're going to be able to use later on in the battle. Within Rocky's deck, you'll find 1 X energy cost card, 4 0 energy, 4 1 energy, and 1 3 energy card. He has 6 attacks, 2 maneuvers, 2 reactions, has the standard 3-4-3 shield breakdown, and 2 of those cards within his deck actually have star defense powers, which I think is like one of the first Red Rangers in the game to have star defense powers. I know Leonbo has them, and he's a Red Ranger. I don't know if the Red Ranger, if you know what I mean, but even still, Sturdy Blow right here is that card that is in Rocky's deck. 0 cost, 1 dice, 1 guaranteed damage. Really not that bad to just use it as an attack card at all. Having a guaranteed 1 damage is always something nice to have. But when this card is revealed for defense, gain +1 shield. So in a sense, Rocky, there's 2 of these in his deck. That means there's only 1 card in Rocky's deck that really only has 1 shield. At any other time, he has at least 2 shields to defend whatever it is that's coming at him. And using that bravery ability, again, no matter how many cards he throws to the bottom of his deck throughout the course of that battle, anytime he does that, he can drag it to his hand instead of putting it there. Again, it may start eating away at his deck a little bit, but Rocky's brave, he's strong, he knows what he's doing, and he's willing to fight and put in the effort in order to defeat the enemies. As you can tell, I am a fan of Rocky. I don't care what people say. I think he was a really good Ranger. I like him best when he was in Z03 and think he got completely gypped when it went over the turbo, but that's his own thing. Next card for Rocky, Squared Up, a 0-cost reaction card. Play this card at the end of any turn in battle. If you suffer damage during this turn, gain 1 energy and place this card on top of your deck, which means that you'd be able to draw it again later on and play it again later on. So it's just like, again, just him getting ready, him like powering himself up and getting himself ready to take the brunt of the damage and be there for his team and everything. I love the way this card looks. It's just Rocky surrounded by putties, and he's just like, all right, what you got? Bring it. I can take you all on, no problem. And that's really what encompasses Rocky. He has this like cockiness to him that some people find off-putting, which I think is why a lot of people don't like him. But I don't know. I think it's part of his particular character growth. And he goes from being that like no one can hurt me type person to someone that you can really rely on and count on as he becomes the 03 Ranger and just his longer he is a Ranger. Is Rocky a good leader? Not really. Mainly because he likes to take risky moves, as you see here. 1 energy maneuver card. Suffer up to 3 damage. Another Ranger may immediately play 1 card. If it's an attack, add a number of dice to that attack equal to the amount of damage you suffered. So he's taking a risk. He's taking a chance in order to be able to block an attack or power up something in order for another Ranger to jump on in order to gain those extra dice and those extra abilities. And again, suffer up to 3 damage, you need to declare how much you're taking before you start flipping cards. But again, with his special ability, there's a very good chance that he's going to draw something that's going to go to the bottom of his deck. If you just say 1 damage, for example, so then Rocky will be able to flip it over. Most likely it's 2 damage, and instead of going to the bottom, he can grab it to his hand, and now that Ranger can play a card with 1 extra dice. Or you can just go for broke and say 3 damage right there and give them 3 dice. Either way, it works. It is, again, something that he has to watch if he keeps taking cards from his deck because he won't have a lot in order to absorb that damage, but that's the point of the risk. Risk versus reward, at least is what this card tells me. And again, that is something Rocky likes to do. And his last original card is the Haymaker. 1 energy, 1 dice attack. Add 1 die to this attack for each shield on the top of your discard pile. This goes back to what I talked about with Adam. You're not supposed to shuffle your discard pile. Whatever you put on top is what is the active discarded card. I mean, all the other ones are there. You can flip through your discard pile to see what's there at any time, but you need to have that top card ready for to go for if you ever play cards like this. And you kind of would need to set it up in a way, you know, play something else in order to be able to put a high shield cost on top. And then, of course, you play Haymaker in order to add more dice to it. Keep in mind also things like Sturdy Blow only have 1 shield to it. It's when it's Star Defense that it gains that additional shield. So it's always just whatever the printed value is that you have to go with. And of course, again, you don't shuffle your discard pile. Inheriting the red Power Ranger powers, he gets the Blade Blaster, as we know what that does, and the Power Sword. 3 energy, 5 dice attack. The next time any Ranger performs an attack during this battle, add 2 dice to that attack. Again, it's something more that fits Jason's playstyle because Jason had a ton of reroll ability within his, whereas Rocky isn't really much like that. Rocky is more of a frontline fighter that kind of gives a little bit of support to the people behind him, whether it be giving them extra dice or just kind of taking the brunt of hits and then moving forward, things along that ways. Kind of another reason why he's not like the greatest leader in the world, but he is trustworthy enough by Tommy to be second in command, or at least that's what I believe anyway. Adam should be second in command, in my opinion, of way more than Rocky. But Red Ranger, you know, color sides and everything like that. Rocky does hold his own very good, and he knows when to take these moves and when not to them. Just, you know, you gotta just watch that deck of his every so often. And of course, we can't forget the Red Dragon Thunderzord that Rocky summons. I love this Zord, my favorite Thunderzord out of the bunch. Exhaust this card when any ranger performs an attack, add 1 die to that attack. Any ranger may discard 1 card to add 2 more dice to that attack. If you have something in your hand that you don't need or something that you just kind of burn and have no problem with it, exhaust the Red Dragon Thunderzord and you are adding 3 dice to an attack right off the hop. You do that to like a power axe and just, really power it up, or, you have a power sword with Rocky and you want to have something a little bit more focused or whatever. It really doesn't matter. The abilities that you can use to add 3 dice to an attack are insane. And most really big combos out there that I have seen involve the Red Dragon Thunderzord at some point, because it's just so easy to click it and somebody toss a card and now you have 3 more dice to possibly get a maximum of 6 additional damage for. Absolutely, it's just crazy. I love it. The best Thunderzord in my opinion right here. Even though the Tyrannosaurus sword, if you're comparing the two, is equally as good, I don't know. Just something about this one, man. Something about this one. I just love the Red Dragon. Cat Hillard, Mighty Morphin Pink. Cat was originally put under a spell by Rita to infiltrate and take down the Rangers from within by stealing Kimberly's power coin. Through her own willpower and the other Rangers, especially Kim, Cat was able to break free of Rita's control. Meanwhile, Kim was going through a lot of personal issues and had to make the hard decision to leave the team. Seeing Cat's grace, loyalty, and desire to set things right was all Kim needed to know that this was the right choice, to pass her powers of the Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger on to a new holder. Cat accepted the transfer with honor and vowed to fight alongside her fellow Rangers with all of her might. Cat's special ability shows off how agile she is. When you suffer damage before you reveal a card for defense, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put them back in any order. She is the master of deck manipulation, not only here as Mighty Morphin Pink, but when she actually becomes Zeo Pink, that's another way that she's able to really switch around her deck as she sees fit. I love that they are able to take that concept here from Mighty Morphin, move it over to Zeo, and still have Cat be the person she is. The one that can look through her deck pretty much anytime she wants and prepare for the next attack. Within Cat's deck, you'll find 1 X energy cost, 8 0 energy costs, and 1 3 energy cost cards. She has 6 attacks, 2 maneuvers, 2 reactions, and she has the standard 3/4/3 shield breakdown. But 2 of her cards have star defense powers to them. I apologize if I sound a little nasally and congested right here. I've been fighting a cold the last few days, and the more I talk for this video, the kind of more stuffed up I get here and there. But trust me, that's all it is a cold. It's not like I'm allergic to cats or anything, right? Yeah, segue. Here we go. 0 cost, Cat's Grace maneuver card. Reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an attack, you may immediately play it and add 1 die to that attack. You may place this card on the bottom of your deck instead of discarding it. Once again, Cat has the ability to manipulate her deck pretty much any way she wants. She can know how it's stacked in there, and then she can play this card to know that the next card is an attack card in order to be able to do it. Her special ability, Agile, lets her look at cards. It's crazy the way that Cat works within her deck to just know what's coming next at any time. Cat's a little harder to play when it comes to solo mode because you really have to pay attention to her deck. You really have to focus in on what cards you have so you know when to play her, how to play her, and just kind of, again, what's coming next. If you're a single player playing as her, if you're in a 3, 4, 5 player game, you'll be able to do some insane combos just on your own, mainly because you know what her next card is going to be. She's even able to do that for other Rangers. Fancy Footwork, 0 cost, reaction card. Play this card when any Ranger suffers damage, gain 1 energy. Love it. Please take it all the time. That Ranger may look at the top 2 cards of their deck and place each card on top or bottom of their deck in any order. So then this is the Ranger that suffered damage. Now it says play this card when any Ranger. So this will work for Cat as well. So if something comes at her, she can play Fancy Footwork here and then do this ability for her. But if she's doing this on another Ranger, then at least now they know exactly what their deck is supposed to look like, or at least for the most part. If they flip over those 2 cards and they don't like either of them, or they're like, one shield cards that you don't need for a defense, or you may just want to use them for later, shove them underneath so this way you know that they're still there and you might be able to draw them a little bit later. But it's all a matter of knowledge. It's a matter of having that insight and that like ability to read what your next card is going to be from your deck, to anticipate damage, to anticipate taking various attacks and everything from your Rangers. Because if you have somebody with star defense powers, you want to make sure you know exactly what those cards are to utilize those powers to their fullest. And in fact, let's take a look at that type of card right now. Agile Shot, 0 cost, 2 dice attack. That's fine, that's great, that's wonderful. That's a nice quick attack to play off of. 2 dice to just kind of knock out something for 0 cost, wonderful. However, when this card is revealed for defense, you may swap it with a card from your hand, apply the shield value of that card instead. Holy geez, that is amazing for Cat right now, because as you can see, Agile Shot is 1 shield. So if something's coming at her and she reveals this for defense, this will come to her hand and she can throw down on top of her deck something obviously that is more than 1 shield worth of absorption. So this way, that 1 damage can just bounce it and then the card can go to the bottom, keeping her alive, keeping her zipping around and jumping around and dodging all types of stuff, which again, is a big thing for Cat. She is extremely mobile. She's extremely, well, again, agile, as we've seen the word show up twice so far within her cards. Regardless of anything, it's her kind of ideally jumping out of the way or doing her best in order to flip over the attacks and everything. We've seen this in other agile style Rangers before, where they're able to kind of completely avoid the attacks and everything. Zoe, I believe, from Beast Morphers is one, and it's just really well represented with Cat with cards like this. Next, we'll take a look at another attack card for Cat, Tai Chi Combo, which is something I'm pretty sure is in her Zeo deck. I'd have to double check on that or whatever, but this is like her preferred fighting style, Tai Chi. 0 cost, 2 dice attack. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Place each card on top or bottom of your deck in any order. Again, deck manipulation, just wanting to know what's next, wanting to know what you have, wanting to know what she can place in order to be able to draw cards for a future turn or be able to prep herself for an oncoming attack. And again, if you're playing her in solo mode, you got to really pay attention to how you put her cards, because I've been in the middle of games and you just kind of draw cards for, you know, your other Rangers after you play them, not remembering that you've set up their deck a particular way. And it just kind of, it throws things a little bit off sometimes when you're trying to like manage multiple hands, at least for me anyway. People out there can do it way better than I can. That is awesome. That is amazing. And I would love to see your game someday. And I'd love to hear your stories about how many Rangers you have managed at any one time. But just for, you know, general basis out there, that's my recommendations for it. However, Tai Chi Combo, absolutely amazing. Again, because of, you know, 0 cost 2 dice. That's pretty on par. But deck manipulation, knowing what's next, knowing what's coming, and know what it is that you can and cannot take when it comes to damage from your enemies. All right, Power Bow and Blade Blaster. Blade Blaster is always really weird because there's not much energy gain for Cat right here, so having that in her deck kind of feels like a waste. Power Bow is just the Power Bow, a massive 6 dice attack for 3 energy. Ignore the guard keyword and choosing a target for this attack. It really doesn't play into her deck at all. It's just kind of like a super powerful one-hit card that can avoid guard. Great, wonderful, whatever like that. I don't remember Cat really ever using the Power Bow that much in the show. By then they had their ninja powers, so that was more of her style and everything, especially with her Tai Chi and just general hand-to-hand combat. But hey, you know what? It still works the same way as Kim's did when she had it in her deck, so now Cat has it. She's going to make the best use of it as possible and just kind of do what she can in order to, you know, knock out as many strong cards as she can. Gotta love her. Cat, I really like Cat, and I really liked her in the show going forward from when she got introduced in Season 3 all the way forward to, I guess, when she left in Turbo. Man, it was that long? Interesting. I'm going to leave Cat right here for right now, but yes, she did not ever pilot the Firebird. That was Kim straight through and through. She was Season 3, so she had the Crane Zord and the Shogun Crane Zord and things along that ways, whatever. We're all about Thunderzords right here. So Firebird, Thunderzord power, exhaust this card, shuffle any Ranger's deck, then reveal the top card of their deck, gain an amount of energy equal to that card's shield value. Man, I wish there's a way to shuffle the deck and then use one of Cat's abilities in order to manipulate it. So this way you know that the top card is a 3 shield. That would be absolutely amazing. But then again, she does have, again, all those cards where it's like she reveals it for the star defense. So that's a 1 shield in her hand. If she managed to do that twice, then you know that at least those are out of the deck. So it's a higher chance of you drawing a 2 energy or 2 shield card to gain 2 energy. And I don't know, the Firebird itself actually works pretty well for Cat's theme. So I like the way that they worked with it, even though she never actually piloted the Firebird. And before I go into Alpha, I might as well just include the Unicorn Thunderzord right here. Good old Billy Cranston, the guy that was Mighty Morphin Blue from the very beginning to literally the very end of the Power Rangers saga, all the way at the end of Cosmic Fury. Never changed his outfit, never got his power like sapped or whatever, or at least I don't believe so. If he did, he still managed to maintain it and whatnot. Costume was always the same. His Zords changed every so often. He was the pilot or the driver, I guess, whatever you want to call it, of the Unicorn Thunderzord. Exhaust this card, choose a number of cards in a Ranger's discard pile with a total of up to 4 shields. Place those cards on top of their respective decks in any order. What's interesting is a number of card in Ranger discard piles. So you're taking 4 shields worth of cards from all of the Ranger discard pile. It may not seem like a lot, but something like, for example, Cat, say she had those 2 1 shield cards in her discard pile that enable her to flip, or Rocky, who has those 1 shield cards that would give him 2 shields when revealed. You can take all 4 of those cards and shove them back into their decks because of the Unicorn Sword. It doesn't have to be just one Ranger. You can spread that 4 shields around all of the Rangers and kind of like establish, you know, a better defense that way. Or you can just do it all on one. It really doesn't matter, whatever. But the Unicorn is definitely a really cool healing Zord, and one that makes you really think about what cards you want to take from those discard piles and put back into their decks. Loyal Support Robot, Alpha 5. 5th generation Alpha Series robot who assisted Zordon and the Rangers through many battles. Alpha 5 was brought to Earth by Zordon and was the one that actually chose the original Mighty Morphin team. Surprisingly, for being a robot, or fully functional automaton as Billy would call him, Alpha has a wide range of emotions and is really almost human-like. He's kind, compassionate, and quite panicky. But when it comes down to it and the Rangers need him, there is no better ally to have watching their backs than Alpha 5. Alright, bear with me here on this. Alpha actually has 2 different play modes, one where you can play him as a player and one where he is an AI NPC. For both of them, there are 2 different types of abilities that you can do this. For the controlled player, you have Loyalty Robot from the Kickstarter box. You cannot move from the command center. You cannot perform the battle action, but you may play cards in every battle, regardless of location. When you perform the recover action, you may allow another Ranger to recover instead. And then from the legendary Forever Ranger pack, you have Mission Control. While your figure is in the command center, you may participate in battles taking place in outer locations. If you do, you are not considered to be in the battle for the purpose of enemy card effects. Pretty much the first one is you can't move from the command center, but you can give your support to all the Rangers as you should be able to with Alpha 5, whereas his second player control ability, Mission Control, enables him to actually leave the command center and be part of battle. As far as his supportive AI or NPC modes, from the Kickstarter box, Recovery Boost. When any Ranger performs a recover action, they may choose to recover up to 2 fewer shields in order to draw an equal number of cards from the Alpha 5 deck. When any Ranger plays an Alpha 5 card, shuffle it back into the Alpha 5 deck. Or from the Legendary Rangers one, you have a Friend Indeed. At the start of each round, revealed cards from Alpha 5's deck to refill the row, which is a max of 3. Any Rangers may discard 1 card from their hand to play an Alpha 5 card from the row. After resolving it, place it on the bottom of Alpha 5's deck. That plays very similar, if not word for word, like Dr. K from Ally Pack 4 it was, the one that had like Udon and Delphine in it and everything. She is made to be a support character, and Alpha 5 is the same way. Out of the 2 AIs, I prefer the second one better because I like seeing the rows and I like having the options in order to kind of figure out which one of those cards would best suit the situation, whereas in the recovery boost, you just kind of gain whatever is on top of his deck. Alpha actually has 2 different decks depending on where you are playing him from, whether it be the Kickstarter or the Legendary Forever Ranger pack. In the Kickstarter, he has 0x energy, 6-0 energy, 3-1 energy, and 1-3 energy cards. Whereas in the Forever Ranger pack, he has 0x energy, 4-0 energy, 4-1 energy, and 1-2 energy cards in that deck. In the Kickstarter pack, he is an even 5-5 maneuver and reactions, while in the Legendary Ranger packs, he has 6 maneuvers and 4 reactions, and his shield breakdowns are pretty much all over the place, as you can see here. From the first deck in the Kickstarter, he has 6-1 shield, 3-2 shields, and 1-3 shield cards within the deck, and then within the deck from the Legendary Ranger Forever Ranger pack, 5 of them are 1 shields, 2 of them are 2 shields, and 3 are 3 shields. Not to be stealing a line from him, but this is going to be weird. There's a lot of cards that show up for Alpha because, again, he has 2 different decks that you could have depending on if you have him from the Kickstarter box or from the Legendary Ranger Forever Ranger pack. I'm going to go over 2 cards at a time, and we're going to start with the Kickstarter box. That would be Tactical Support and Emergency Shield. Tactical Support, 0 card, maneuver card. A ranger of your choice may draw up to 2 cards, then immediately play 1 card. And then Emergency Shield's reaction, when this card, play this card when any ranger suffers damage to reduce that damage by 2. Very simple, very easy. A lot of Alpha cards are kind of straightforward, at least within this deck itself. There's not much you have to realize. There's not much strategy involved with it. It's, hey, I need to draw cards, tactical support. Hey, I need to block some energy, emergency shield. Simple, easy to put that way from the Kickstarter pack. Most of those cards are like that, and most of them also are pretty cheap. As you can see, these are 0 energy in order to play. 2 more from that first deck from the Kickstarter box. Energize, maneuver, gain 3 energy. That is just like, mwah, I love that card. That is a great, great clutch card right there. And then you have Recovery Protocol, a 1 energy cost reaction card. Play this card when another ranger plays a card to allow that ranger to return the card to their hand instead of discarding it. I had this played when I was with my buddies not too long ago. I ended up playing this because we used Alpha in our team, and we were able to pull off, I think, like 3 power weapons in a turn because my buddy Paul was using the Solar Ranger, and you spend 3 and she puts 3 into the pool, which enables you to do it again. It was insane. It was awesome, let me tell you. Those 4 cards I showed before had doubles of each of them. These are the 2 single cards that are within Alpha's deck from the Kickstarter. The first one, Go! A 1 energy reaction card. Play this card before any ranger performs an attack to add 2 dice to that attack. Simple, easy, straightforward, as I mentioned. And then Teleport. For 3 energy, which to me seems a little obscene, this should have been 2 or whatever, maneuver card, move 1 ranger from an outer location to this location, basically giving a free move at the cost of 3 energy. They can be dropped in the middle of a battle as well. That's kind of an unwritten thing that's there. You know, you just spend the 3, you teleport 1 ranger from a different location to your location. If you have a battle going on, boom, let it go. It is a maneuver card, so it will take a ranger's turn, but now at least you have another ranger in battle in order to help you. So these were the first set of cards that you got from Alpha before he kind of got tweaked and moved around a little bit. I do like a lot of the second series of cards of sorts for Alpha that I'm going to show in a moment, but let me tell you, so that Energize is amazing, Go is amazing. There are still plenty of cards in the first Alpha deck that I just showed here that are worth looking into. All right, on to the Alpha 5 from the Forever Ranger pack. These are the cards that you'll find in the deck there. Energy Barrier, as you can see, there's a lot more wordings on this. Reaction card, 0 cost. Play this card when any ranger suffers damage. Roll 3 dice. Reduce that damage by the amount of damage results rolled. Kind of a little chancy right there because you may get a complete whiff and not block anything, or you may get a 6 and get like this crazy defensive ability to it. You also have Combat Protocol, 0 cost maneuver card. Another ranger may perform an attack with 2 dice. That ranger may choose to either reroll any number of dice during that attack or gain 1 energy. This is a great one to play if you have an enemy that's really close to being defeated because you play it at 0 cost, so you just kind of do it. So it's another ranger may perform an attack with 2 dice. So it just chooses a ranger, they do an attack with 2 dice. If they defeat the enemy, awesome, amazing. You can choose to gain an energy. So it's a net gain of that energy and defeating an enemy. if you do not defeat the enemy, you can choose to re-roll the dice as well. And because this is kind of an attack, you can boost it with other dice. Or at least I believe so. It sounds like you can, because it's perform an attack, which is the wording that you would need in order to be able to boost it with other dice. Alpha, you crazy. Here we go. 2 more. Coordination, a 1 energy reaction card. Play this card before another ranger performs an attack, which again, would be kind of like what I just did for Combat Protocol. Add 1 dice to that attack. That ranger may return that card to their hand instead of discarding it. Again, a really cool ability right there, where if you have a card that's just super powerful and you're able to just boost it up even more, just send it back to your hand so you'll be able to play it again later. There are many situations where I've played a card where I'm like, man, I wish I had that card again, because this is another time where it would be extremely useful. And coordination is perfect to do that with. I like Billy on that, you know, helping out Alpha. We also have Team Effort right here, a 1 energy reaction card. Play this card after any ranger plays an attack card with an energy cost of 0. Another ranger may immediately play 1 card. So if you're doing something with 0, then you play 1 energy here. You're able to then play another card. Any card, any value, you have to pay for it. Always gotta remember you gotta pay for it. But it is also another ranger. So the first ranger that did that card is done for the remainder of that turn within the battle. Another ranger would need to step in order to be able to do some type of powerful attack or follow-up attack or something along that ways. And the last 2 cards within this Alpha deck, the second one from the Forever Ranger pack, I'm just constantly reiterating that and putting in your head that these are 2 different decks for Alpha. Some of you may have the first one, some of you may have the second one and wonder where the other cards are. 2 completely different decks in 2 different points that you can find them on, within the game. 1 in the Kickstarter box, 1 in the Legendary Forever Ranger pack. First, we're gonna do Battle Teleport first. 2 energy maneuver card. Move any ranger from the command center to an outer location of your choice. If a battle is currently taking place in that location, that ranger may immediately play 1 card. This is like the better version of Teleport, which is Alpha's original one that you saw not too long ago. But the ranger needs to be in the command center. So this is a great one to play after somebody has basically bit the big one in a sense. You've lost a life, they've powered up, they've gone back to the center circle. You can play Battle Teleport to bring them into a battle immediately without them having to waste an action or anything along that ways. And then you have a fresh ranger ready to go with your team to fight back whatever it is that possibly took them down to begin with. And lastly, we have Zord Maintenance. 0 cost maneuver card. Gain 1 energy. Ready 1 exhausted Zord card of your choice. Readying a Zord card in its own right is fantastic. I love Ninjor for that ability that he has for that, which I think is like unlock potential or something like that, where he unexhausts the Zord. There needs to be more cards that do that, because having the ability to replay Zords multiple times is fantastic and can lead to some insane combos. So there's only 1 Zord Maintenance and 1 Battle Teleport within the second Alpha deck. But again, the way that I like to do it is just mixing the 2 of them together, because there are cards I like from one and ones that I like from another. There's cards I don't like from one and that I don't like from another. Every one of the cards has a purpose. Every one of Alpha's cards really shines when it comes to knowing that Alpha is really a true support character. He only has maneuvers, he only has reactions for both of his decks, and that's the way he's supposed to be. He sits there and watches and observes, and when the Rangers need him, he's ready to help out in a variety of different ways. And now we're on the Megazord portion of this breakdown. We got 2 of them, so here we go. I told you there's a lot in this episode. Thunder Megazord. Each time any ranger performs an attack, they may reroll any number of dice. This is a once per attack ability. This is not something where you could be like, I rolled 6 dice. Oh, I got all those misses. Oh, I got those misses again. Oh, I got those misses again. It's you get a reroll with an attack, but every single attack the Rangers do has a reroll attached to it. And rerolls do stack, by the way. So if you have a card that says, roll these dice, you may reroll any number of dice, you can then do that. And then you can go to the Thunderzord and be like, oh, I have another reroll, and then you can go again. So you can see the potential here in order to be able to really work with the dice and try to get what you want out of them in order to take down certain enemies. And of course, Megazords are supposed to be strong like this. They're supposed to have these like really strong, awesome abilities, but not really have the quote, I win button to them. And I think Thunder Megazord works very well with that. And of course, where would Tommy be without his Megazord configuration, with the other 4 Rangers snapping onto the Tigerzord to make the Mega Tigerzord? Exhaust this card to place the Megazord token in any location. Comes with a little token for itself. Please give us a giant figure Renegade. I would absolutely buy that for this, you know, just simply because I can see this being a really awesome figure in a giant form. At the end of each battle in that location, roll 5 dice, deal that much damage, divide them as you choose among enemy cards. Now, something like this, it doesn't play into my playstyle personally, because this means that there are cards on the field that have not been defeated by the end of the battle. I don't like doing that. I like making sure that most of the cards are wiped out, as many cards as you can get knocked out as possible, especially when you're going up against a boss or monsters or things like that. But the Mega Tigerzord does help out in that if that is the case and there are a lot of cards left over, you can roll 5 dice and the damage that you produce from it can go to any card. It will avoid guard and things like that. There are no targets to this damage, so it can avoid stuff along that way. So it really helps. And I like how it's kind of like the opposite of the Mega Dragonzord from the Green Ranger, because Dragonzord was 6 dice to a single card at the beginning of a battle. This is 5 dice to all cards at the end of the battle. So it's just an interesting duality thing that Tommy had at this point when he became the White Ranger. Because remember those episodes where he fought himself as the Green Ranger and everything. It was really, really cool. So those are your Megazords for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 2 that are currently available in Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. And there you have it, everybody. We made it to the end of the episode. I told you it was a lot, but we had new Rangers, new colors, new Zords, and a support character that really does his job well. Regardless of anything, I hope that this helped you out, at least maybe understand how certain characters work, or if anything has a question like with Alpha or one of the other characters from the Legendary Ranger pack or White Ranger or anything along that ways. I really hope that this breakdown helped you understand them a little bit better, maybe answer some questions you have. But if you have anything else at all, please let me know down in the comment section below. I will get to it as soon as I can to help answer anything that you have. And of course, anybody out there as well that happens to see it, feel free to jump in too. We are a great community together, helping each other out to learn what characters fit our style the best, or just so we know exactly what we're getting into when we buy all of these new sets. Because I talk about the Kickstarter a lot. There's a lot within that Kickstarter box. And then of course, this entire chunk right here, minus that particular Alpha, for the Legendary Rangers Forever Rangers pack. There's just so much right here. And I'm glad that you guys took this journey with me to learn about them. But now I want to hear from you. I have a lot of questions for you guys in regards to this. First off, what do you think of the new Ranger decks for Rocky, Aisha, Adam, and Kat? How it was pretty much their own personal deck, but then the Blade Blaster and their power weapon was carried over from the Rangers that they took the spot of when they got, you know, their powers and whatnot. What do you think of White Ranger Tommy? Do you think he fits his motif very well? And, you know, would there be anything that you would change about him? And of course, my big question is, how do you play Alpha, or how have you played Alpha? What works best for you? What do you think is something that you maybe homebrew or change around a little bit? So for me, what I like to do is, again, I like putting the 3 cards down, and then you're able to play one of his cards during battle. But then I also have it where at the end of a round, like when everybody's used all of their actions and everything, and you start a new round, you can dump the 3 cards that are in the tableau for Alpha and just throw 3 new ones down. This way it gives a little bit more of a rotation to his deck. And if you have something there that you know you're just not going to use, it's an all or nothing thing, so you may get rid of something useful, but ultimately you're going to find something really good that comes out from Alpha. That's just me. That's just the way I like to do it, but I want to hear from you as well. All of your thoughts, ideas, and of course, the best combos that you came up with using these Rangers. Guys, you've been absolutely amazing. Thank you again so much. If you're thinking about picking up any one of these sets, there are affiliate links down in the description section below. They do go a long way into helping the channel if you choose to purchase it through them. Otherwise, in order not to miss any future Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid action, there is a villain breakdown coming out soon. You don't want to miss that. So in order not to, be sure you are subscribed to the Home Gamer Dad, or you could just be looking forward to any other fun video I happen to put out for you to enjoy. If you wish to support the channel even further, there are ways to do that down in the description section below. I do recommend channel membership, so this way you'll be able to get videos like this early. And then of course, once I do my monthly sessions, which there will be one coming out shortly this month, rather than waiting on all 3 parts to be put up throughout the course of a week, I will put the one long version of that episode the first day that I release part 1. So you don't have to wait for that and everything like that. There'll be other exclusives and everything for Patreons and YouTube members going forward. But in all honesty, regardless of anything, your view, your like, your subscribe, your comment, your share, all of that really does mean a lot to me and does go a long way to helping the channel. I thank you guys so much. You've been absolutely amazing. Take care of yourselves and each other. We are family forever, gaming together. Until next time, let's just hope that, Renegade puts out the Alien Rangers, or at least the complete team. We already have the White Ranger. We need the rest of them in order to say that we are finished with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Season 3 would be done, and then we can focus on other seasons as well, and ultimately just get every Ranger in the game. I want all the Rangers. That's my hope. That's my prayer. You guys have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one.